Hi guys, my name is Ellie and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the challenge quest for Ultimecia's Lost Chapter. So I actually finally managed to complete the challenge quest today after luck sucking Squall's BT. I had been trying for so long with just Ulti's LD and Squall's LD and Paine with just her EX, and I got super close but no cigar. Anyway, for the challenge quest I used Paine EX, so she does have her second armor, and I used Squall with his BT, LD, his EX has 3 ingots in it. All of his boards are done, but he has no spheres. I used Ultimecia LD EX. Her EX has 3 ingots in it. She has all her boards completed and is fully sphered. I didn't show it here in this video, but the spheres which she does have are Squall's, Vaughn's and her own. And for the summon we're going to be using Leviathan for the slow passive, and also for the permanent initial brave up passive that you get upon dropping below 80% of your HP. Now just before we go into my challenge video, just some important notes for when you're doing this yourself. You don't want to be losing any of your buffs. Squall's Renzo buffs are okay to drop briefly, but you especially do not want to drop the buff stacks on either Ultimecia or Paine. In regards to using the free skill after Ultimecia's EX, you want to make sure that you're always using Hell's Judgment for the free skill. So with all that done, let's jump right into it. So at the very start of this wave you want to open up with your LDs. So here I have Squall do his LD, and then I have Ultimecia open up with her LD as well. You want to do this because you want to get max stacks on Ultimecia's Maleficum. Now this first wave is actually super annoying. So there's some important things to do beyond opening with the 2 LDs, and you would have seen it with when I used Paine. You got to ensure that Paine puts her break status debuff on the 2 enemies to slow them down a little and allow for the other 2 to brave shave them more effectively. The debuff is essential alongside Leviathan's slow passive because it will allow for the team to actually get turns in between the bosses. It's recommended that you reset if Squall or Ulti take too much HP damage in this wave. Dropping into red is considered too much. Allow both Ulti and Squall to take some HP damage in this wave if possible, so that they can get the Leviathan buff, which will increase their initial brave. It's also good for them to have less HP than Paine in the second wave, as this means the mermaid bosses will focus Paine instead, who will have the most HP. So that focus will happen once they do Reaper Rise and they do the Aqua Power, where they buff themselves and gain heaps of brave and make it hard for you to brave shave them. In this first wave, you want to make sure that you are conserving all of Ulti's skills for the second wave, except for one use of Hell's Judgment, so that you can put on a Sorcerer's Hatred debuff on the enemies. Aside from that, you will be using her LD a second time, but that would be only to refresh her Maleficum stacks once she's dropped down to 1 or 2 turns on her buff. So you'll be making good use of her Brave attack, Maelstrom, to break both enemies whenever necessary, and also if you are trying to avoid a crucial break. This will help to ramp up her EX availability since you will be conserving all of her skills. Beyond that, you will just be HP attacking, and that is also included after she uses her EX. You use your free skill of Hell's Judgment and then proceed to just HP attack. That sounded super strict the way I said that. But it's really important to conserve Ulti's skills for the second wave because she needs it to prep her EX when she has to turn manipulate at important times. Make sure to reapply Paine's debuff if it falls off, but you gotta keep 4 of her break attack skills for the second wave. And it should go without saying that you've got to keep both her Dress Fee stacks up and her Wing Power EX buff up. This is important as they will speed up your party to allow them crucial turns between enemies and buff them so that they can Brave Shave and deal damage. In the first wave, I ended up using both Squall and Ultimecia's LD skills twice. And beyond that, just make some good use of your character's HP attacks. HP attacks are good alternative options for turns when your skills don't give you those turn rates that you need. And that's about it for tips for this wave. So I guess I'm just going to ramble a little bit here. I've actually managed to do all of the challenge quests so far because I am a long time player. I've been playing since Titus's event, and so I do have quite a number of characters built up, and team composition is really important, and knowing what all of these characters do and what the summons do and what the enemies do actually are really important for these quests when you're doing them. So keeping that all in mind really does help you out. But yeah, I haven't recorded any of my other challenges that I managed to do because, well, I just didn't do it. And I do like to try and do quests with units that are 0-3, and in this instance I actually decided to use base EX Paine. And that's actually to do with the idea of team composition. I did try using 0-3 Shan Toto, and I found that the runs just weren't as great. And so I had a look again at the debuffs and buffs that Paine provides, and the fact that she actually slows down the enemy and provides a speed buff to her allies was actually super useful, and that's why I chose to use her as the third unit in this team composition. She provides some of the speed that this team sorely needs. Yet still, I really don't want to give her a book, which is why I ran her just her base EX. But her buffs and her debuffs are so useful that she actually is usable with just these on their own. And that's what I actually really love about this game, that you can do wacky sort of team comps like this if they work together well for the bosses that they are versing. Now, there's a plethora of YouTubers out there who would probably give you more eloquent sort of advice on team building and team compositions. Whereas I just like trying out these wacky things for memes mostly. I don't want to show what my Dimensions End currently looks like, but I'm having a great time. Now, back to the challenge quest. So with this wave, you just open up with breaking the bosses and then proceeding to conserve Ulti's skills until they drop really low again, just like in the first wave. Again, with Paine, you want to be applying her debuff to the enemies to slow them down. Now, I got a lucky miss here with the rip, so I didn't have to reset again, because as you saw, this was a reset for this wave. So just like in wave 1, I waited for Ulti's Maleficum stacks to almost drop again and refreshed them all with her LD. With Ulti's EX, the skill usage is going to be as follows. Once again, for the free skill, you're going to be using Hell's Judgment. And then after that, you are going to be using Protean Sword, followed by a HP attack. Now, in some situations, you might use Maelstrom instead of a HP attack. Maelstrom is helpful for gravity shaving if Reaper Rise activates. Make sure you brave in moments when you want to avoid breaking, and keep an eye on the turn order. You also might want to brave with the other two characters. Same sort of thing applies. You want to avoid breaking at crucial moments. Now, if you allowed Ultimecia and Squall to take HP attacks in the first wave, as I recommended, Paine should have the highest HP in the group. And as you can see, she is targeted for the Demon Splash attack by both bosses. Now, if you break these bosses, they will instead use the break attack, which effectively turns a unit into stone for 2 turns. Now, when you're having Paine targeted by these enemies, you want to ensure that her brave is high enough before they attack her, so that she does not get demon splashed and one shot, just like in here. So when the first enemy did break, he did not break her because she had too high of brave, and that meant that the following boss did not demon splash and one shot her. Speaking of splash, I am thirsty. Doing this commentary for the first time is thirsty work. I don't know. Okay, why did I say that? But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I know this is not the most engaging video commentary, but I'm just trying to present some tips that could be helpful as you watch this. So here you can see that I did EX, Hell's Judgment, Protean Swords, and I opted to use Maelstrom because of the turn order. And so, as usual with Squall, you're going to be wanting to do as much damage as possible whenever you can, but also keep in mind you want to be using your C65s to sort of do things like this, where I allow them to regain their brave so that I could re-break them. Make sure you reapply Paine's debuff and keep her EX buff up. This is especially important for before the bosses hit her with the break spell after they've done Aqua Power. Now it's okay if Paine takes an evil shot HP attack as long as her HP does not drop below the other two. And I kind of thought about that and wondered maybe it would be helpful to unequip Ulti and Squall's HP passives, but then thinking about it again, if they're gonna eat some HP attacks in the first wave, it's probably not recommended. So I guess for the first wave it might involve some RNG for that. Not sure if that's actually a helpful reflection now that I think about it. After the bosses use Reaper Rising Plus, Ulti's skill usage after EX is going to be as follows. You're going to do the Hell's Judgment for the free skill, as usual, and then you'll follow it up with 2 usages of Protean Swords. This is to ensure that Ulti can gravity shave the bosses completely and also turn manipulate to give the team a breather. This will also allow her EX to be immediately up for use again when she gets her turn. So yeah, that's why I conserved all of Ulti's skills for this wave, because I found in my initial runs when I was trying to do it with just Squall's LD, no BT, that it was just really difficult and they burnt out their skills if Ulti didn't have all of her skills for wave 2. This way I found was actually a lot closer to being able to complete it when I was just using Squall's LD. And of course when I got his BT, that certainly made it a lot easier for me to do this run. We're pulling it a little bit fine here, but you need to hold on to Squall's BT as long as possible. You definitely want to hold on to it until after they've used Reaper Rising Plus, and definitely use it before Paine's debuff on the bosses run out. Make sure Ulti has broken the bosses after they have used Aqua Power to ensure Squall does as much damage as possible. And here, as you can see, I use both of Ulti's C65s in order to allow the bosses to regain their Brave, and then I use her final LD skill to prepare for a summon. So anytime before you use Squall's BT, you want to make sure that you have Ultimecia prepared with her LD buff. So following a Reddit post recommendation I saw, I like to use Squall's EX first in his burst, and then follow up with a Rentekuchen, and then here I accidentally misclicked, but I used Rough Divide, and then I followed that up with Ability Recover because it buffs Squall's attack and all of that nice stuff, and then I go into another Renzo before he closes off his BT with his Blasting Zone. I find that really does do quite a lot of damage when he does that, though I'm not too sure what everyone else does. Really, this is pretty much my first time using Burst. I took I took Squall's burst immediately into this challenge to give it a whirl. And so normally you'd immediately summon after this, after using Squall's BT, but if you have Ulti's turn afterwards, you can have a further delay them with her EX combo, making sure to summon on her final turn. For this, as you can see, my Paine is still stone, so she will waste a turn as stone, but it also saves her from getting kicked by the bosses. So during this summon with Ulti's EX, you're going to spam Hell's Judgment so that you can do 100% damage to both enemies. I actually could have done that in the first turn of the summon, but I was really thinking, to be honest, so it still worked out. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. You just gotta finish them off. I made sure to find the high turn rates for all the skills that gave Squall some turn rate, and just re-broke the bosses. But yeah, let me know if this helped you in any way. I feel like I wasted so many hours trying to do this with just Ulti's LD and Squall's LD. I'm just so happy that I ended up getting his BT, which was just a really lucky pull. Because on the first day of Ultimeca's banner, I tried to pull for her and I almost had to pity her LD. Ended up using 70k, so I was one pull off of pitying before I got her LD. And so I took a book and decided to just go with that. And I had 80 G tokens left, and I thought today I'll just randomly chance pulling for Squall's BT or just settling for the Power Stone. And I actually ended up getting his BT, which was amazing. From that final multi-pull I did on Ultimeca's banner. So that ended up really helping me complete this challenge quest. But in any case, let me know if this helped you in any way, shape or form, and if you reckon I should do more of them. This is the first time that I'm actually posting a video commentary like this. Yeah, if you found this helpful in some way, I'll try my best to make a better video next time, I guess. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I wish you luck with all of your RNG.